Welcome to another video newsletter. This is the second time we're trying this. And as you know, I just got back from better than 3 weeks in Mexico. It was a very difficult trip, far too much for us to even think about covering in one video or we'd be up all night. And so I'm going to, on this video, just give you a quick glance at what we did and where we were. And then on the second one, you're going to hear more about the teaching we did because it was a leadership training conference. And in the leadership training conference, we had a definite agenda. We thought it'd be for 30 to 40 people. Ended up doing over 300 people in over 5 locations. I'm not going to cover all those locations, but I also want you to get a little bit of the flavor of what really happens when you go on these trips. They're very difficult. You're eating very different food, such as a lot of goat, a lot of mole and spicy chilies, which are grown just wild because they make everything right from the land. They're not buying it from the stores. And so to give you a little better idea of that, let's swing over to the map and let me show you exactly where we were. I flew into Acapulco this time, and using this map, once again, to show you the distances and difficulty of travel. After 2 days, we went immediately to the Tecpan area, right at the far left-hand side, and then actually to Atoyac. And we spent 2 days in this area and did a conference here, at which we thought we'd have 30 people. I ended up with well over 100. And so this area is only 60 miles and it takes you almost 4 hours to drive it because of the difficulty of the terrain. Then from there it was back to Acapulco. A few days later we went up this way and then across the mountains to the High Sierra into Ayutla, and 2 little towns called Quadrilla and La Sidra. This again is about 120 miles and takes about 5 hours to get there. And after a few days of very hard ministry in there, doing again another conference, this was a smaller group, probably about 40, and then we came back down to Acapulco and worked in these areas here, doing conferences, doing small groups. Then it was up this way, which is a 6-hour drive. Again, on American highways, you'd figure 2 hours, but it's 6 because of the mountains and the twists and the turns and the condition of the roads. To Cuernavaca, and then on over to Cholula, which is part of Morelos. And in Morelos, we ministered for 2 days. We're very excited about this. We have a lovely missionary couple there with a great vision, very much in tune with what we do at Mission Acapulco. And so we worked with them, and then I went on up to Mexico City and left from there a few days later after spending time with the Jewish community there. And Sammy and Pam came all the way back down to Acapulco, making that long, hard drive again. We had car problems. We had to get parts. Our cars are old. They have a tremendous amount of kilometers on them, and the condition of the roads make it a miracle to even run. But we're thankful to God for safety in all of these travels. The first picture is the inside of the church at the first conference. Again, we expected 25, 30 people max. And it was well over 100 people that came. This was on a Friday night. We left very early that morning because we had to do a funeral first. I think we left about 4 o'clock and then drove there, got there about 10:30, did the funeral, got to the church about 4, and then this started at 5:30 and went until 8:30. But the main thing is God had prepared so many people to come, and part of the reason was these guys, you see this picture, this is Sammy's planning team. Many of these people are my spiritual children, and I love them dearly. And they did a phenomenal job, even the young people down in front. Just some terrific people who put in a lot of hours of planning, of advertising, of doing things the right way. This is another picture. I believe this is of the one in Acapulco, in which there was actually more than 150 people that came. eager to learn, so eager to find better ways to share the gospel. Now this is up in a little village. I told you about Ayutla, the two little towns, Quadria and Lasidra. Now we want to go into Ayutla, and when I do the part in a few weeks on the miracles that happened on this trip, you're going to hear of a big miracle that happened here about going into a stronghold of Satan in Ayutla through the people in these villages. 6 years ago, there was only one Christian here. Now, some of these people walked 3.5 hours over hard mountain trails just to come to learn for about 3 hours in the heat. Yes, it is the tropics, and it was hot. The first part of the conference is on unity. And these people are getting each other's information, and then they will be praying for each other and for each other's churches as they part of the thrust of working together. Something stressed so much in Scripture, and which is so damaging to the work of Christ throughout the world. Everybody wants to do their own thing. When we can unite, we are much more powerful. This is another group that we were able to address later on. This is in Chapultepec, which is part of Morelos. And Cuernavaca area up near Mexico City. We have two leaders who volunteered now to lead Mission Acapulco. They will be coming to the training center for training very shortly. The second part was on humility, which involved washing feet. I'm washing one of the pastor's feet here of that particular group. Many tears are shed during this. It's a very emotional time, and then they wash each other's feet. Nobody has to participate, but they come, and they come wanting to do this as a show of humility one for another. Because the people, the servants that did the foot washing in Bible times were the lowest of the low. And then the third part, Sammy led that in doing the power of the testimony. These people are sharing testimonies at how God used them to change the lives of other people through the works that they had done. And all of this, and there'll be more of this on other videos, is based on James 2, verses 14 to 21. They are holding lights because we carry our light into the world. We don't keep it in the church. That's not that important. Just a little bit about the lifestyle. This is a very different lifestyle. They get in the mountains, all the food comes from the ground. This is a pitted fruit. The pits are smashed, and she's doing that with a round, oblong stone, which has been handed down through generations and is well worn by hands. And that is on a piece of stone that she's doing it. It is crushed, it is poured and mixed with very cold mountain stream water. Yes, we don't filter it. You just drink it and don't ask questions. And I haven't got sick off mountain water. And so it's called chelati, the drink, and you drink it all day long. We also had dirty clothes issue, of course, a lot of sweat, and so the ladies were kind enough to be willing to do some of our laundry, and this is the laundry mat. You have the flat rocks, which are the washing racks, and then the scrubbing rock, and then, of course, the pail, and then they're dried out on the bushes. Sleeping quarters are not what you would expect. This is a dirt floor. It has nice smooth stones embedded in it, which all seem to find my hip. You see my sandals under the chair, and I'm sacking out for the night. Now, you change positions about every 20 minutes because you wake up hurting pretty badly. And those barrels behind me, they're filled with corn. That's how their tortillas will be made for the entire year. There's a little shelf you see there. That's the entirety of their bowls and plates. Now, you say, why don't you sleep in a hammock? Well, you try to sleep in a hammock, and I do it very quickly for about 2-3 hours, and then I got to turn over. And you really wake up big time because you got to get out of a hammock in order to turn over. And if you have any back issues, you got to be a little bit careful with sleeping a long time, especially 8-10 hours in a hammock, which would be very, very difficult. We did a lot of walking. because there's no cell phones, there's no landlines. And so if you're going to go up and see somebody and advertise, you have to strategically pick people that are placed so that they can contact other people. We walked about 3 hours over rocks, through streams, and then we're ready for a good meal of barbecued goat. And that's what that is. Now you see there's no silverware because what you eat with is a tortilla. I've learned to eat soup with a tortilla. Many tortillas, I must say. You rip it into 4 pieces, you throw it in a pile, you put your 3 hands or 3 fingers, your thumb and 2 fingers is how you hold it, and that's how you eat. And just on a little sense of humor on how they really use everything, I wanted to close with this one because you will get a kick out of this one. There are no toilet seats. No public place has toilet seats. Only your tourist hotels and a few of the rich homes. They just don't use them because people would steal them, and so they don't have them in their homes. It's just something they figure they don't need. Now you flush that toilet by going outside and getting a little bowl of water about the size of a cereal bowl when you're good, and you can actually hit it at the right angle with a lot of force, and you flush the toilet. Now you're wondering about on the side, what's in the basket? Well, in this case, in most cases, there's a basket because you cannot put toilet paper in the toilet. And so it goes in the basket, which makes all your Mexican bathrooms really smell good, even in Mexican airport in Mexico City. It's terrible. But here in this village, they use corn cobs. The corn cobs are stripped of corn so that it can make pozole and other things. And then the corn cobs are put in here, and you use that to clean yourself. You throw it outside where it dries in the air. The ladies wait till it's dry, and then they come and they take it and use it to start the fire with, which is really a good situation. So just a closing statement to say that it's an interesting trip, very tiring, long days, short nights, but we were so blessed. I have so much more to tell you, but we simply don't have time right now. The next video you'll see is the importance of the small group training that we did and some pictures of some of those. The third one, we'll talk about the actual lessons that we did, and the fourth one planned, I need to share with you the many miracles that happened. Let me just say this. I invite you again to go to the website, and I encourage you to give to this ministry. God has expanded it, and these people are going to need some subsidies. I'll talk more about that later because the church there, they are taking care of almost all their own expenses, every church, and doing very well with it. But still, when you have that many new leaders, and they have to take time off from their work to work in the kingdom and still be able to feed their families, just remember that $200 a month will support a family with enough food so they don't have to work 2-3 days extra for an entire month. Think about it, and may God bless you as you give.